A growing number of cities in Hennepin County now have social workers embedded within their police departments to help with calls related to mental health. This week, Maple Grove announced they plan to join that list of cities.
This is a great investment in public safety for our community. With the cost-sharing formula and applying the opioid funding that we have, our portion's only $35,000 for 2023. Other agencies have had success with this program in taking care of specific needs that can cause emergencies, like mental health crises.
The Maple Grove City Council voted unanimously on Tuesday to approve the plan. The social worker would officially be an employee of Hennepin County, with the city paying 60% of that person's salary. Maple Grove police say they plan to work collaboratively with the social worker to identify residents in need of mental health services on a long-term basis. Ultimately, the goal is to reduce the number of police calls to those homes.
Other cities have implemented this and found it to be very successful. They've reduced the calls for service for some residences and for some individuals, and this really takes a long-term approach to addressing some of those concerns rather than the police just repeatedly showing up and handling the immediate situation.
If the Hennepin County Board approves the plan at its meeting next week, officials from the county and the Maple Grove Police Department will begin the interview process later this month. The hope is to have the social worker on duty sometime in the spring. Memorial Blood Centers is putting out an urgent request for blood after donations dropped during the holiday season. Reporter Sonia Goen shows us why blood supplies are dangerously low.
Go ahead and squeeze every 3 to 4 seconds. The need for blood never stops. It is critical.
The nation's blood supply is at one of the lowest levels in recent years. Memorial Blood Centers says that they are down more than 20% of their red blood cell donations, and their platelet donations are down more than 25%.
We need blood every day, every type of blood every day. And we also need platelet donations and plasma donations.
Capet says a surge in recent COVID-19 numbers and other respiratory illnesses, plus several winter storms, are to blame for a shortage of blood donation volunteers.
It's just led to many, many cancellations of appointments and blood drives.
Between Christmas and New Year's Day, Memorial Blood Centers sees the fewest amount of donations.
Holidays are a time when people are really busy, and so they don't necessarily take the time to make a blood donation appointment.
Yet January typically has the highest need for blood donations at hospitals.
I theorize that people who were putting off having a procedure until after the holidays, or they have new insurance benefits, and so they can take advantage of those in January.
If the nation's blood supply doesn't increase soon, Capet says life-saving blood might not be available when patients need it.
If everybody who donates blood would donate one more time a year, we would not have these shortages.
Sonia Goins, CCX News.
For more information on donating blood at Memorial Blood Centers, head to our website, ccxmedia.org. Following an independent investigation in Golden Valley that alleges a former police officer made racist and offensive statements, the city is working to move past that with a new partnership agreement. The City Council this week approved a memorandum of understanding with Sweet Potato Comfort Pie. The nonprofit started by Rose McGee makes sweet potato pies to offer comfort amid difficult conversations surrounding race. In its agreement, the city will proactively promote events hosted by the nonprofit. The next event will be Sunday, January 15th at Breck School to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. At the state capitol Friday, the announcement of legislation aimed at making it simpler to vote. Nearly 40 members of the House and Senate, all DFLers, formed the so-called Inclusive Democracy Caucus. Several of the members are from the northwest suburbs. Their initiatives include setting up automatic voter registration, restoring voting rights to those formerly incarcerated, and updating state campaign finance laws. Representative Mike Freiberg of Golden Valley, who chairs the Elections Committee, addressed whether the proposals would be able to get Republican support.
We need to do what's best for Minnesotans. We'll certainly make every effort we can to reach out to our colleagues across the aisle. I know, there have been a couple governors that have had this policy in place that they'd only sign a law if it has bipartisan support. I'm not aware that Governor Walz has made that sort of statement.
Hearings on pieces of the legislation are expected to start next week. In Crystal, improvements to Bassett Creek Park are in the works. Those plans include building a new, larger dog park. The City Council approved going out for bids this week. Part of the project also includes replacing a 40-year-old pedestrian bridge. The current bridge does not support the weight of maintenance vehicles, so it is not cleared in the winter. Crystal hopes to get started by late spring with improvements and have the project completed by July. Friday is when many Christians celebrate the feast of the Epiphany. At St. Raphael's Catholic School in Crystal, the school gathered for a special performance of the Feast of Three Kings. It comes at the end of the Christmas season when many Christians celebrate the Three Kings making it to the manger scene. For this performance, students memorized gospel verses and learned about its significance.
We don't know for sure that there were three kings, but we just actually know that there were three gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, so that thus the tradition of the three different kings. And then they even attributed names of Balthazar, Melchior, and Caspar. So we have three of our 8th grade boys that are acting as the three kings today.
And we leave you with a part of the performance.
The Osseo boys hockey team has already surpassed last season's win total. The Orioles skated for their 6th win of the season as they faced Coon Rapids. Coon Rapids the host as they take on Osseo in Northwest Suburban Conference boys hockey. Early first period, Harry Laborde's shot from the point is tipped in by number 18 Jules Laberge. The Orioles have a 1-0 lead just over 5 minutes into the game. Later in the first, Davis Wick wins the face-off. Eli Larson gets the quick shot off and scores. The Orioles are up 2-0 after one period. Second period, and Cameron Kinsella passes to LaBerge, whose shot sneaks through. It's his second goal of the night. This one comes on the power play, and Osseo leads 3-0. An Osseo turnover creates a scoring chance for the Cardinals, but Justin Halverson comes up with a big stop, one of 28 saves for the Orioles goalie. Coon Rapids does get on the board in the third. Ben Kish with a strong rush up the left wing gets free and goes in alone. He tucks the shot past Halverson to make it 3-1. But it's Osseo winning in the end. The Orioles beat the Cardinals 4-2 to improve to 6-4 on the season. The Providence Academy girls basketball team is the defending champion in Class 2A. The Lions lost earlier this season to Class 3A power Becker. They had a rematch Thursday. Jay Wilcox has the highlights.
Providence Academy ranked number 1 in Class 2A, hosting Becker, rated 2nd in Class 3A in a big girls basketball matchup. A nice give and go for Becker as Elizabeth McAdams gets it back from Evelyn Crafton. The Bulldogs lead early despite missing 2 key players due to injuries. Madden Greenway pushes the pace and splits the defenders for a layup on the way to her usual strong performance. Grace Counts dishes out to Emma Millerburn for a 3 from the wing, and it's 15-11 Lions. Millerburn scores 10. Good rotation here for Becker, and it leads to a 3 for Ayla Brown. She pours in 29 for the night. Greenway gets the steal late in the half and beats the buzzer with a layup for a 40-36 halftime lead for Providence. Greenway scores 27. Second half, and Kira Miller hands to Grace Counts for a 16-footer and a 50-43 Lions lead. Brooke Honecker heats up. Greenway swings it to her for an open 3. Honecker scores 16 on the night as Providence reverses an earlier loss to Becker with a 75-65 win. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Maple Grove's girls basketball team hadn't played a game since December 20th when they finally took to the floor again Thursday night as the Crimson got back into Northwest Suburban Conference play at Totino Grace. Totino Grace girls basketball coming off its first win of the season last week in Rochester, taking on 9th-ranked Maple Grove. Early Crimson turnovers laid to points for the Eagles. Itoro Ituko with the steal. She goes all the way in for a layup. 8 first-half points for Ituko. Claire Stern knocks down an open 3 for the Crimson to break a 14-all tie. 9 points in the game for the junior. Chloe Nuss gets the ball in the paint and scores on the short runner. She leads the Eagles in scoring with 14 points. Final seconds of the first half. The Crimson's Audrey Corman with a shot that drops right before the first half buzzer. Maple Grove leads 33-25 at the break. A good game for Crimson senior Kennedy Click. She scores on the nice post-up move as Maple Grove extends its lead to 20 points. Jordan Odie is Maple Grove's leading scorer this season. She drains a 3 here, one of 3 triples made by the talented sophomore. But Grace gets the lead back under 10. Megan Spencer from Ava Regal scores. It's 60-51 with 5 minutes to play. The Crimson respond, though, by outscoring the Eagles 18-3 down the stretch. Odie finishes the night with 21 points and Click 23 as Maple Grove wins 78-54. Maple Grove is now 6-3 and hosts Minnetonka Monday. Katina Grace falls to 1-9. John Jacobson, CCX Sports.